Good morning, Deborah here again. This week, week 10, we're going to be addressing two very important issues that thread all the way through every one of your real estate transactions. The first one is antitrust regulations, and the second one is fair housing rules. Antitrust laws were created to protect consumers from the unfair business practices of price fixing, boycotting, and dividing territories. You can read more about these practices by clicking on the links provided. Here are some quick scenarios that you should be aware of and avoid. It is not acceptable for brokers to gather together and discuss the prices of their services or commissions, or to come to an agreement on how to standardize those fees. It is important that you avoid even the appearance of doing this. If a conversation like this was to arise at a meeting you were attending, best practices suggest that you should immediately exit the meeting. If you find yourself at a meeting where someone is suggesting, for example, that you all don't show a certain company's listings or advertise in a certain newspaper, that would be considered boycotting. Agreeing not to use another's services to control prices or to reduce competition is boycotting. Coming to an agreement with another company or broker to only work in certain areas might also be considered an antitrust violation. In each of these cases, the appropriate action to take if you find yourself in one of these conversations is to leave the conversation quickly. Beware of certain words: standard, usual, always. These words may give the appearance that you are price fixing, boycotting, or setting territories to gain an advantage over the public. Review your and your licensee's marketing materials and presentations periodically to be certain that they are not using this type of marketing against other firms. In your own company, however, as the broker owner, you are free to establish the fees for all your licensees and or to ask them to work in certain areas. It is only when two companies or two brokers from different companies attempt to make these decisions that antitrust violations occur. Consider fair housing rules. The real estate industry is committed to applying the principles of fair housing. You can read more about fair housing by clicking on the links provided. There are some scenarios that are more challenging than others when it comes to abiding by the fair housing rules. Many of the violations of fair housing occur during the lease or rental of a space. When renting a space, consistent business practices must be applied. For example, use the same application for all applicants, applying the same standards when deciding which applicant to accept, and zealously avoiding making decisions based on any of the protected classes. Keeping current about the changes about fair housing guidelines is an important part of being a managing broker. How the American with Disabilities Act is adding a new level of protection, comfort animals, or what new standards are being set with criminal background checks is important information to have and to share with those who you are supervising. Reviewing your advertising frequently to assess whether it reflects a diverse population, and making sure that your advertising and the advertising of those you supervise complies with fair housing standards is a must. Remember that today's advertising includes websites and social media marketing. I'm glad we covered such important materials this morning. Next week, what we're going to do is cover what you need to do when you're actually managing an office. And again, I'm going to say, even for you as a self-sponsoring broker, you need to be aware of what the rules and regulations are. I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday at 9.